Next we have a presentation from Jörg Zell with the title of AI and the Future of CMS, what it means for open source CMS and their users. Sounds interesting. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. Yeah, my name is Jörg Zell. I'm the CEO of Interactive. We are from Germany. We are a German digital agency and building Plone websites and Plone applications for 25 years now. And the theme of the topic of my talk is AI and the future of CMS. And I already know that this talk will probably not age well, because what I tell you today will probably be obsolete tomorrow, but bear with me anyway. Thank you. Yeah, where are we? If we look at the big scale of things, I think we had 2 waves at the minimum already in the CMS ages. Like we had the first revolutions in the first decade, starting in 2000 when we started building websites and gave authoring tools, publishing tools to people. Then we had, in the second decade of this century, we had another revolutionary step when we all went headless and decoupled systems and talked a lot about APIs. And I think now we are in the next phase towards an intelligent system. At least I hope we are on the way towards an intelligent CMS system, or maybe we are on the way to being obsolete. I'm not sure yet which way we will go. Yeah, talking about intelligence and also the control of things in our system, I think it's really quite urgent that we do something about quality control, because what we see right now, it's basically that we are flooded with generated AI content, and it's a lot of garbage, a lot of biased content, a lot of made-up content, and of course also some good content. And recent statistics say that already 60% of all marketing material out there on the internet is generated by AI. So I think this is a huge problem. And also from people's perspective, they expect that everything is getting even faster and even more stuff can be created, and it's getting even cheaper than before. So I think, or I believe that many of us really are not aware and can't imagine what is really in front of us with this AI revolution that we are in. And I include myself with this. I cannot really understand how exponential growth works. Like, I think I might understand, but then if I'm faced with simple questions, I see that I don't understand. For example, if I asked you, do you want $1 billion that I give you right now, cash in your hands, or I give you 1 penny and I double it 64 times? What would you take? Probably most of us would take $1 billion, I assume. But actually, if you double 1 penny 64 times, you would get $184 billion. So that's exponential growth, and it's something what humans have a problem with understanding how it really works in real life. And just to show the video from 2 years ago, we all thought, okay, video editing is nothing for AI. And today we see that we are on a cinematic level already, creating stuff that we did not imagine like 2 years ago. So that's exponential growth we see, for example, in technology, in AI. And there are a lot of disruptive developments in critical research areas and application areas. Just to give 2 quick examples to prove the point. It took humankind 70 years, from the 50s to 2020, to structurally map molecules. And yeah, we could do that in 70 years with 200,000 molecules. And then in the age of AI, in 5 years, we were able to structurally map 200 million molecules. So that's exponential. and disruptive development. And just another example, we all use GPTs, and like 4 years ago, when you prompted something, what your GPT returned was the equivalent of 1 minute of human reasoning. There's this human workload index, so you got like 1 minute of human reasoning. And with GPT-5 this year, GPT gave back 2 hours of human load, of human reasoning. And with Claude 4.5, we are now at 70 hours of human reasoning. So that's also one example of exponential development in AI. And I apologize if I stay with this subject a long time, but I really had the impression in the recent weeks that many people look at the present and we still think in a linear way, and we think, okay, we know what happens today, so we can expect, we know what happens in 6 months or in 1 year. And I really don't think that we grasp what is ahead of us. So why does this matter for CMS? There are a lot of reasons, but I want to stress 2 points. The first one is that the idea of speed and control, what I just talked about. I think our systems so far are really made for a human pacing, for a human speed. So we had these workflows doing, drafts, reviews, publishing, and humans did that and in a very slow and human-paced way. And this has to change, and there are new questions coming up with AI generating this content and being so fast. So for example, questions like who approves AI-generated content, or how do we audit automated updates? How do we prevent bias and error at scale? So basically, I think we have to rethink accountability in our systems, and our systems or our logic must be able to supervise not only human outputs, but also machine output, basically. And the second point, why it matters to CMS, in my opinion, is in this example, you see it quite well. This is it represents the Google AI mode. I'm not sure about your countries, if it's already shipped by Google. In Germany, it was shipped last week, so I had the chance to use it for the first time. You can just ask questions now, like in ChatGPT. I asked, does Plone have AI features, for example? And the answer I get is a chat-like answer. And I can chat with this answer, and it's well structured, and I get everything I want to know about the AI features in Plone. And for now, they still have the link list on the side, but I'm not sure how many people still use the link list, or actually, we know already, we have the statistics. Major websites really report that they have a decline up to 80% of website visits are lost with people using ChatGPT to get their answers, or now they use the AI modes in the search engines, especially in Google. So if we ignore these facts, I think we will really lose relevance, because we have to think about how many people will still use CMS-like interfaces made for humans to consume content, to search for content, and so on. And what will be the shift from human consumption of content and machine consumption of this content. And maybe a large chunk of information will be just exchanged between agents, like my agent and your agent, dealing with each other and exchanging information. So then let's have a look at what users actually want and expect from their content management systems if we talk about AI. And I want to rely on the global AI survey, which was done by the Drupal community. They did that recently in July 25. And they asked about 200 executives, business leaders, what the most valued AI features in content management systems are for them. And this table just groups the results overall. And the interesting thing is that it's basically three things. Like they want their systems, their AI assisted systems, to save them time. They want to keep control, stay in control of their content, and they want to reach everyone. So accessibility was a big topic that they mentioned. And I think this is extremely interesting for us because it's basically what our customers tell us what they expect from content management now and in the future with AI. So I can highly recommend looking at this study and seeing what they found out in detail. Then, now that we have a little bit of an idea what users expect from AI-assisted content management systems, let's see what the CMS communities actually do. And in Germany, we have this great thing called CMS Garden, where most of the relevant and important open source CMS meet and exchange ideas, talk to each other. And I recently went to one of the CMS Garden meetings, and I actually talked to people from the WordPress community, the Drupal community, and the Typo 3 community, and asked them, how are you dealing with the AI age? How are your communities dealing, and what are your strategies for the future? And let's start with WordPress. As you know, it's the biggest system in the market. They power more than 40% of all websites worldwide. And the general opinion in their community was that they were really late to the party, like probably 1 year late to the party, and missed the beginnings of the AI age. And that's why they really went all in now, and they are probably flooding the zone now with lots of marketing material, with lots of blog posts, and with hundreds of AI add-ons dealing with everything you can imagine in content management. And if you know a little bit how WordPress works, how they are structured, they are bound a lot to hosting companies. So big hosting companies deliver WordPress with their hosting plans to their customers. So those hosting companies have a lot of interest in developing WordPress further. So there's a big investment there. And behind the big hosting companies, there are really big private equity companies. So we are really talking big money getting invested now in AI capabilities in WordPress. And they have a dedicated team now since May 25, really developing stuff for the WordPress core and also as add-ons. And they sent around 4 what they call building blocks. And for example, the Abilities API, it's a very interesting idea. They want to transform WordPress from a collection of isolated functions into a unified, discoverable system. By creating a central registry of capabilities, it allows AI agents, automation tools, and developers to understand and interact with everything WordPress can do. And then they created an MCP adapter already that went online on WordPress.com last week. So they are now already able to communicate to other systems in a centralized way. And as I said, they do that as a core functionality. They're creating a setup page in the admin section where you can just configure your LLM, which then can be used by all the plugins that you use and also by the core features. So there was like a creative explosion in the WordPress world, but also, of course, a lot of chaos because they lacked maybe a little bit of governance because they are so big. And in contrast, Drupal, for example, they take a very strategic approach. They even have a strategy document outlining their AI strategy. They published that now in June 25, and also have huge marketing efforts promoting and telling people what they do and what their strategy is. They founded a Drupal AI initiative, and that's funded in this year in 25 with more than $100,000, and that's for building products and features, and also having a leadership team for AI purposes, and also a delivery team with several full-time equivalent employees really working on those things. And then they focus on certain areas, but I just want to quote what they say about themselves. They say, Drupal established itself as the premier AI-powered open source CMS platform. So that's their vision and their ambition, what they want to achieve and what they communicate to the world, what they can see. Then this image shows a proposal to group and market the huge number of agents that are in, or that will be in their vision in Drupal. And that's quite interesting, I think, because in their strategy paper, they included very concrete and real-world scenarios showing where they want to go and what you will be able to do with the AI features in Drupal. And one, for example, is one scenario they described as an event organizer automation. So you can think of something like this conference. And their vision is, I will just read it, an event organizer sets a business goal to find 200 attendees for an upcoming event. AI agents within Drupal automatically create an optimized event page on brand with a sign-up form, then continuously improve it using analytics data for better SEO performance. The agents proactively promote the event through social media channels and identify potential attendees on LinkedIn. Throughout this process, the human organizer maintains full visibility of all AI-driven changes, can access detailed reasoning for each AI decision, and approve or change modifications, and can establish clear boundaries for promotional activities. So there you see that they have this business vision in mind. Just very quickly, I also talked to the Typo 3 guys. Typo 3 is a European and mostly German content management system, but it's very interesting because they power most of the government websites in Germany, and they bundled everything under one extension called Typo 3 AI with a lot of functionality, and they are not planning to do anything in the core. They will leave everything as an add-on, and also they are exploring MCP interfaces like all the other communities do, have a certain emphasis on structured content and AI review processes for now. And so just very quickly to them, and then as a summary, we can see that in the last months, I mean, everything I showed you was really a very recent development for the last year, you can say. And if you see the left column, we were in a fast-pacing way developing single plugins, and then we are moving slowly, or we are moving now to the infrastructure, to the middle column. And I think there will be standards, like MCP is probably the standard that develops right now in all the that all CMS use, and then we will move to the questions of principles. How will we deal with AI features in principle? And that's the most interesting part and the most interesting questions we have to answer. So coming back to the topic of this talk, the future of CMS, in my own opinion, I think that we should really, if we haven't, we should start now building for AI consumption. So we should have structured data as much as possible. We should have markup. We should have MCP to make our content, our information available for other systems, for agents, for AI consumptions. Because as we saw in the AI mode example from Google, it's questionable how many people will still interact with our systems. I mean, I will not argue that no people will interact with our systems, but we have to deal with the fact that agents will do that too. Then I think we will move away from step-by-step actions that humans do, and will develop towards goal-driven processes so that users in the CMS will define outcomes. They will say what they want to reach, and then AI will take over all the single steps. So if you think at the event automation example I gave, that's something probably that will be the future in our systems, in my opinion. And then, of course, all this has to happen in a governance framework, so that we have to ensure quality control in the future and brand integrity. That's something that will be considered, of course. Human oversight will be maintained. I think the human in the loop will always be important and will be kept in our systems. And finally, I think content management systems will be just one application, one tool in a whole set of interoperable setup that will be the future. At least that's what we believe at Interactive. And we created an infrastructure, an AI infrastructure, where Plone is one example in this whole environment. And that's something my teammate Alexander will talk about this afternoon at 1:30 in his talk, Composable AI Infrastructure with Plone and Beyond. That's exactly that last point I wanted to make. And now, as the last thoughts, what are the implications for Plone? I think we are pretty well set. We have good foundations for this AI revolutions, but if WordPress said they were late to the party, I think we're also a little bit late to the party, and I think we have to do some things. I have some proposals, and my proposals here are only things where I also think I want to participate and I could participate. So I think we could start at least with collecting everything that was already developed, all the little add-ons, all the things that are already used in projects, put them together so that it's visible, maybe on the Plone website or something, like maybe comparable to the awesome Walter list or Plone list. We would have an awesome AI list where everything is collected that exists already. Then maybe why not dedicate sprints specifically to AI development to really push something forward there. And also there I would, and my company would like to contribute in that way. And also in the marketing effort, I think we should address the topic of AI proactively now in all our communication material on the website at least, and make visible to the world that Plone is thinking about the issues coming up and has solutions for that. So maybe also following the lead or the examples of other communities thinking about an AI team and dedicating resources to that in the future. So those are my proposals, my ideas. And with that, I would like to close this talk. I thank you very much for listening, and I'm very happy to talk to you about that. Thank you very much.
Now for the questions to anyone. Okay, there's one.
Jörg, thank you for the nice overview and everything. I do have 3 questions. First of all, you said, or you presented in the beginning, how quick the AI is accelerating. It's quite similar to what we have seen with Moore's law in the beginning of computing, so it's really speeding up. But we also already seeing in certain parts where physical limits, intellectual limits of the creator behind are, so that it's always also there's in the long run that it slows down again. That's one of the things. The other thing, and that's with the perception of the users, my point of view is we are still asking the people what they want, but the change comes with the disruptive ideas from the side. And it's this thing, the famous quote from Ford, if you ask the people what they want, they ask for faster horses, and he gave them in a car. And the AI is also doing that. And there is the difference between the humans that want to share information or consume information and the AI that can aggregate. So is there an interference loop also there in the CMS world, where the things that the people write with AI is then consumed with the AI to abstract the certain information for the people. What do you think about those interactions there?
Yeah, thank you for your question. Yeah, I think it's always good to start with the users to ask them what they want. But you're absolutely right that now it's probably something reinforcing, like AI is also generating more content. People consume that content, and at some point people's belief is also formed by things that AI created. So that's a very interesting development. But in the communities I talked to for now, the thing was really to see, okay, how can we keep up the pace, or how can we start, and let's start with the needs that people have right now. So I think that's always a good start, asking our customers, for example, from your experience with AI, what do you think you need in your system? How could we help you right now? And starting from that, we can also, of course, look more into the future and have more visionary ideas.
Hi, thank you, Jörg. Very interesting. I see you compared the four. If you had to put them in order of who's the front runner in this race at the moment, and how far apart are they? What would that order look like, and how visually, just with your hands, could you show us who's where?
Yeah, okay, it depends on your criteria. WordPress is at the top with the amount of stuff they do, and they are way ahead because they have a huge output of things. So I called it a creative explosion, but with explosion, they also have, of course, the most money, and with this explosion, there's a lot of chaotic developments too, so it's not always very strategic. And in that way, I think Drupal is the front runner, because they really started with a vision and with the strategy, and what they do, what they build according to the strategy, which is, in my opinion, a good way to go. And then the third system, Typo 3, they are definitely in third place, and I would place ourselves in a good fourth place.
Thank you. Let's have an applause for Jörg.
Thank you very much.